Hey guys, Elisa Mousy here, and welcome back to a Dragon Age Origins Codex video. So I moved from the other room because there's a bunch of fire in that room, and I didn't want that to be, like, crackling in the background. You can probably tell by listening to me. I'm a little bit sick. I'm just getting over it. So, sorry if my nasally voice doesn't really do it for you. Creatures. What do we have? Rat. What are you, mad? Even the most giant of rats isn't going to present that much of a problem to anyone larger than a cat. Even the stories in the archives tell of blight-touched rats still only attributed them with the ability to spread the plague. The rats themselves got no larger than perhaps 3 feet in length, in sharp, bony spikes and boils. 3-foot rats is still something to be concerned about, my dude. Disturbing, certainly, but dangerous? This is no fantasy conjured by madmen, young man. You have much more important creatures to concern yourself with. Okay, that. Fair. Transcript of a lecture given by Nalia, senior enchanter of Hosberg, 844 blessed. Nope, she was later eaten by a blight rat in 846 blessed. No less than it sounds like she deserved. Sloth demon. The bastard that put us here. And I looked at the creature, and it had become me. A veritable copy of my form, of my very mind, stared back at me as if from within a mirror. I thought surely that this was a trick, an illusion meant to put me off my guard. But as I engaged the thing with my sword, it fought me with maneuvers that I recognized. It parried as I parried. It swung as I swung. It spoke to me and said things that only I could know. I think this demon of sloth has no form or identity of its own. It is envy as much as sloth, I believe, and mine was not the first shape it stole that day. An excerpt from a transcribed deposition of Tyrannus, Templar Commander of Cumberland, 390 Towers. The most difficult assumption for some who study demons to overcome is the notion that a sloth demon is, in and of itself, slothful. If that were so, it seems highly unlikely that any such demons would cross the veil into our own world, or once here would fight to possess any creature with a will of its own. And we know both these things are not to be the case. Certainly some demons are lazy and complacent, but who knows? Perhaps these creatures even cultivate such a reputation. The truth is that demons of sloth are named so because this is the portion of the human psyche that they feed upon. Doubt, apathy, entropy. They seek to spread these things. The sloth demon hides in its forms, a master of shapes and disguises, always in the last place you look, and from its hiding place it spreads its influence. A community afflicted by a demon of sloth could soon become a dilapidated pit where injustices are allowed to pass without comment, and none of the residents could be aware that such a change had even taken place. The sloth demon weakens, tears at the edges of consciousness that would much rather rend its victims helpless than engage in a true conflict. Such creatures are best faced only with a great deal of will, and only with an eye to piercing their many disguises. Okay. We picked up a bunch of we picked up a lot of stuff. We might only make it through the magic and religion section of this. The Rite of Annulment. In the 83rd year of the Glory Age, one of the mages of the Navaran Circle was found practicing forbidden magic. The Templars executed him swiftly, but this brewed discontent among the Navara Circle. The mages made several magical attacks against the Templars, vengeance for the executed mage, but the Knight Commander was unable to track down which were responsible. 3 months later, the mages summoned a demon and turned it loose against their Templar watchers. Demons, however, are not easily controlled. After killing the first wave of Templars who tried to contain it, the demon took possession of one of its summoners. The resulting abomination slaughtered Templars and mages both before escaping into the countryside. The Grand Cleric sent a legion of Templars to hunt the fugitive. They killed the abomination a year later, but by that time it had slain 70 people. Divine Galadia, I don't know. Responding to the catastrophe in Navarra and hoping to prevent further incidents, granted all the oh my god. Grand clerics of the Chantry. Is there a bug on my... No, it's a fuzzy. Sorry. Granted, all the Grand clerics of the Chantry the power to purge a circle entirely if they rule it irredeemable. This rite of annulment has been performed 17 times in the last 700 years. From Of Fire, Circles, and Templars, A History of Magic in the Chantry by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Wow, for once something not written by Brother Genitivi. Fraternity of Enchanters. Another aspect of circle life is the fraternity. When a mage becomes an enchanter, he may ally himself. Does it really matter? He may ally himself with a fraternity. These are cliques that cross circle boundaries. Mages of common interests and goals who band together to ensure that their voice is heard within the College of Magi in Cumberland. The largest fraternities currently are the Loyalists, who advocate loyalty and obedience to the Chantry, the Equitarians, who advocate temperance and follow a distinct code of conduct which they believe all mages should hold themselves to, the Libertarians, a growing fraternity publicly maintaining greater power for the circle but secretly advocating a complete split from the Chantry, a dangerous opinion, naturally. The Isolationists, a small group that advocates withdrawing to remote territories in order to avoid conflicts with the general populace. The Lucrosians, who maintain that the circle must do what is profitable first and foremost. They prioritize the accumulation of wealth, with the gaining of political influence a close second. So far, an alliance between the Loyalists and Equitarians has prevented the Libertarians from gaining much headway, but there are signs that the Equitarians may throw their support in with the Libertarians. If that happens, many mages predict it will come to a civil war among the circles. From the Circle of Magi, A History by First Enchanter Josephus. Need a water? Sorry for that little, water bottle ASMR. It was a little close to my mic. I'm sorry about that. History of the Circle. It is a truth universally acknowledged that nothing is more successful at inspiring a person to mischief as being told not to do something. Unfortunately, the Chantry of the Divine Age had some trouble with obvious truths. Although it did not outlaw magic, quite the contrary, as the Chantry relied upon magic to kindle the eternal flame which burns in every brazier. In every Chantry, it relegated mages to lighting candles and lamps, perhaps occasional dusting of rafters or eaves. I will give my readers a moment to contemplate how well such a role satisfied the mages of the time. It surprised absolutely no one when the mages of Val Royeaux, in protest, snuffed the sacred flames of the cathedral and barricaded themselves inside the choir loft. No one, that is, but Divine Ambrosia II, who was outraged in an attempt to order an exalted march upon her own cathedral. Even her most devout Templars discouraged that idea. For 21 days, the fires remained unlit while negotiations were conducted, legend tells us, by shouting back and forth from the loft. I like that image. The mages went cheerily into exile in a remote fortress outside of the capital, where they would be kept under the watchful eye of the Templars and a council of their own elder magi. Outside of normal society and outside of the Chantry, the mages would form their own closed society, the Circle, separated for the first time in human history. From Of Fire, Circles, and Templars, A History of Magic in the Chantry by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. The Harrowing. Among apprentices of the Circle, nothing is regarded with more fear than the harrowing. Little is known about this rite of passage, and that alone would be cause for dread. But it is well understood that only those apprentices who pass this trial are ever seen again. They return as full members of the Circle of Magi. Of those who fail, nothing is known. Perhaps they are sent away in disgrace. Perhaps they are killed on the spot. I heard one patently ridiculous rumor among the circle at Ravane, which claimed that failed apprentices were transformed into pigs, fattened up, and served at dinner to the senior enchanters. But I could find no evidence that the Ravine circle ate any particular quantity of pork. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. There he is. Maleficarum. It has been asked, what are Maleficarum? How shall we know them? I have been as troubled by this question as you. You may come to me for the wisdom of the Maker, but none have seen the Maker's heart save beloved Andraste. And so I have done as all mortals must, and looked into the words of his prophet for answers, and there I found respite from a troubled mind. For she had said to us, magic exists to serve man, and never to rule over him. Therefore I say to you, they who work magic which dominates the minds and hearts of others, they have transgressed the Maker's law. Also, Our Lady said to us, those who bring a harm without provocation to the least of his children are halted and accursed by the Maker. And so it is made clear to me, it should be to us all, that that magic which fuels itself by harming others, by the letting of blood, is hated by the Maker. Those mages who honor the Maker and keep his laws we welcome as our brothers and sisters. Those who reject the laws of the Maker and the words of his prophet are apostate. They shall be cast out and given no place among us. From the sermons of Justina... Okay, is that Justina I or Justinia? Is it Justinia I or Justinia the First? It's a little unclear. And the cardinal rules of magic. You must not be under the misimpression that magic is all-powerful. There are limits, and not even the greatest mages may overcome them. No one, for instance, has found any means of traveling, either over great distances or small ones, beyond putting one foot in front of the other. The immutable nature of the physical world prevents this. So no, you may not simply pop over to Minrathus to borrow a cup of sugar, nor may you magic the essay you forgot in the apprentice dormitory to your desk. You will simply have to be prepared. Similarly, even when you send your mind into the Fade, your body remains behind. Only once has this barrier been overcome, and reputedly the spell required 2/3 of the lyrium in the Tevinter Imperium, as well as the lifeblood of several hundred slaves. The results were utterly disastrous. Finally, life is finite. A truly great healer may bring someone back from the very precipice of death, when breath and heartbeat have ceased, but the spirit still clings to life. But once the spirit has fled the body, it cannot be recalled. That is no failing of your skills or power. It is simple reality. From the lectures of First Enchanter Wincelis. Ooh, we have books for all of the 4 books of magic. Or 4 schools of magic. So, creation. Opposition in all things, for earth, sky, for winter, summer, for darkness, light. By my will alone is balance sundered and the world given new life. Threnodies 5:5. The school of creation, sometimes called the school of nature, is the second of the... they should have been put in order. Is the second of the schools of matter, the balancing force and complement of entropy. Creation magic manipulates natural forces, transforming what exists and bringing new things into being. Creation requires considerable finesse, more than any other school, and is therefore rarely mastered. Those mages who have made serious study of creation are the highest in demand, useful in times of peace as well as war. From the 4 Schools, a treatise by First Enchanter Josephus. I'm sorry, I'm bungling words a little more. I wish the text was a touch bigger and double-spaced. That would make it easier to read, especially when the background gets kind of dark. The second of the schools of matter. Why are they both the second? Whatever. Entropy. To you, my second-born, I grant this gift. In your heart shall burn an unquenchable flame, all-consuming and never satisfied. Threnides 5:7. The second of the two schools of matter, entropy is the opposing force of creation. For this reason, it is often called the school of negation. Nothing lives without death. Time inevitably brings an end to all things in the material world, and yet in this ending is the seed of a beginning. A river may flood its banks, causing havoc, but bring new life into its floodplain. The fire that burns a forest ushers in new growth. And so it is with the entropic magic that we manipulate the forces of erosion, decay, and destruction to create anew. From the Four Schools, a treatise by first enchanter Josephus. Primal. Why is that all in italics? Those who oppose thee shall know the wrath of heaven. Field and forest shall burn, the seas shall rise and devour them. The wind shall tear their nations from the face of the earth. Lightning shall rain down from the sky. They shall cry out to their false gods and find silence. Andraste 7:19. Sometimes called the school of power, the primal school is the second of the schools of energy. Let me guess, the other one is also the second. Balanced by spirit and concerns the most visible and tangible forces of nature itself. This is the magic of war. Fire, ice, and lightning. Devastation. This is what the vast majority imagines when they hear the word magic. From the Four Schools, a treatise by first enchanter Josephus. Spirit. A little more water first. And the voice of the Maker shook the Fade, saying, In my image I have wrought my firstborn. You have been given dominion over all that exists. By your will all things are done, yet you do nothing. The realm I have given you is formless, ever-changing. Oh wow, the first! The first of the two schools of energy, spirit is opposed by the primal school. They were in alphabetical order. That's why. It is the school of mystery, the ephemeral school. This is the study of the invisible energies which surround us at all times, yet are outside of nature. It is from the Fade itself that this magic draws its power. Students of this school cover everything from direct manipulation of mana and spell energies to the study and summoning of spirits themselves. By its nature an esoteric school, as most others know virtually nothing about the Fade, studies of spirit magic are often misunderstood by the general populace, or even confused for blood magic, an unfortunate fate for a most useful branch of study. From the Four Schools, a treatise by first enchanter Josephus. Okay. Beyond the Veil, Spirits and Demons. God, this is long. I don't like big paragraphs. It is challenging enough for the casual observer to tell the difference between the Fade and the creatures that live within it, let alone between one type of spirit and another. In truth, there is little that distinguishes them, even for the most astute mages. Since spirits are not physical entities and are therefore not restricted to recognizable forms, or even having a form at all, one can never tell for certain what is alive and what is merely part of the scenery. It is therefore advisable for the inexperienced researcher to greet all objects he encounters. Typically, we misuse the term spirit to refer only to the benign, or at least the less malevolent creatures of the Fade, but in truth, all the denizens of the realm beyond the veil are spirits. As the Chant of Light notes, everything within the Fade is a mimicry of our world, a poor imitation, for the spirits do not remotely understand what they are copying. It is no surprise that much of the Fade appears like a manuscript translated from Tevinter into Orlesian and back again by drunken initiates. Okay. In general, spirits are not complex. Or rather, they are not complex as we understand such things. Each one seizes upon a single facet of human experience. Rage, hunger, compassion, hope, etc. This one idea becomes their identity. Their identity. We classify as demons those spirits who identify themselves with darker human emotions and ideas. The most common and weakest form of demon one encounters in the Fade is the rage demon. They are much like perpetually boiling kettles, for they exist only to vent hatred, but rarely have an object to hate. Somewhat above these are the hunger demons, who do little but eat or attempt to eat everything they encounter, including other demons. This is rarely successful. Then there are the sloth demons. These are the first intelligent creatures one typically finds in the Fade. They are dangerous only on those rare occasions that they can be induced to get up and do harm. That kind of goes against what the other things said about sloth demons, though. Desire demons are more clever and far more powerful, using all forms of bribery to induce mortals into their realms. Wealth, love, vengeance, whatever lies closest to your heart. The most powerful demons yet encountered are the pride demons, perhaps because they, among all their kind, most resemble men. From Beyond the Veil, Spirits and Demons by Enchanter Mirdramel. Mirdramel. The Tranquil. The Tranquil are the least understood but most visible members of the Circle. Every city of respectable size boasts a Circle of Magi shop, and every one of these shops is run by a tranquil proprietor. The name is a misnomer, for they are not tranquil at all. Rather, they are like inanimate objects that speak. If a table wished to sell you an enchanted penknife, it could pass as one of those people. Their eyes are expressionless, their voice is monotone. Incomparable craftsmen they might be, but they are hardly the sort of mages to put ordinary folk at ease. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. There are words that can be said about the Tranquil, but I'll save that for another day. Maybe. Maybe I'll forget, in which case you can discuss amongst yourselves what you think of the Tranquil. But be kind. No being vicious to each other or to me. Please. The Veil. I detest this notion that the veil is some manner of invisible curtain that separates the world of the living from the world of the spirits. Whether it be called the Fade or the Beyond is a matter of racial politics I refuse to indulge in at the moment. There is no this side or that side when it comes to the veil. One cannot think of it as a physical thing or a barrier or even a shimmering wall of holy light. Thank you very much for that image, your perfection. Think of the veil instead as opening one's eyes. Before you opened them, you saw our world as you see it now. Static, solid, unchanging. Now that they are open, you see our world as the spirits see it. Chaotic, ever-changing. A realm where the imagined and the remembered have as much substance as that which is real. More, in fact. A spirit sees everything as defined by will and memory. This is why they are so very lost when they cross the veil. In our world, imagination has no substance. Objects exist independently of how we remember them, or what emotions we associate with them. Mages alone possess the power to change the world with their minds, and perhaps this forms the nature of a demon's attraction to them. Who can say? Regardless, the act of passing through the veil is much more about changing one's perceptions than a physical transition. The veil is an idea. It is the act of transition itself, and it is only the fact that both living beings and spirits find the transition difficult that gives the veil any credence as a physical barrier at all. From a dissertation on the Fade as a physical manifestation by Moreno, Senior Enchanter of the Minrathous Circle of Magi, 655 steel. Huh. What all do we have for culture and history? Only one. About the Tevinter Imperium. The Imperium is little more than a dilapidated old slattern crouching in the far north of Thedas, drunkenly cursing at passers-by to recall her faded beauty. One can see that Minrathous was once the center of the world. The vestiges of her power and artistry yet stand, but they are buried in the layers of filth that the Imperium's decadence has accumulated over the ages. The Magiocracy live in the elegant stone towers, literally elevated above the stench of the slaves and peasants below. The outskirts of Minrathous are awash in a sea of refugees turned destitute by the never-ending war between the Imperium and the Kunari. And yet the Imperium survives. Whether with sword or magic, Tevinter remains a force to be reckoned with. Minrathous has been besieged by men, by Kunari, by Andraste herself, and never fallen. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. How is it that random pages of this one book just keep showing up everywhere? Okay, so we have Knight Commander Gregor. Well, I'm not going to read the quotes. Actually, no, because I don't know when they would have been said. It is the innocent folk of Ferelden who matter. I would lay down my life and the life of any mage to protect them. That's fucked up. Grim and taciturn, Gregor has been Knight Commander of the Templar forces stationed at the Circle Tower for so many years that hardly anyone except the First Enchanter recalls that he is not simply part of the tower itself. Speaking of First Enchanter Irving, there is no higher office in a Circle Tower than that of First Enchanter. The one who holds this title must not only be an able administrator, but also a mentor, leader, and surrogate parent to all the mages of the tower. Irving has proven himself to be all these things with an added dose of cunning. Most apprentices know that little goes on in the tower that Irving does not know. He can soothe Templars angered by some childish magical prank at the same time that he lauds the pranksters and everyone walks away satisfied. Okay. The Black Vials. Binding the First Corpse Walker. Let the dead no longer serve your whim. Bound by your true name, no mortal hand shall reach you. Have we? Wait a minute. We read this one. Didn't we? Because there was the thing about the thumbprints. We read that one. And that one. I might not have saved. I might not have saved when I did that. My bad. Irving's mistake. I followed another apprentice through supposed secret maneuvers today and exposed her tendency towards blood magic. The environment of the tower is such that certain modes of thought are encouraged, both for good and ill. The students think we toy with them. The truth is far more intricate and directed. Deviant traits must be exposed early or the whole of the circle suffers. Uldred has been very helpful in identifying the markers to look for. His skills at misdirection are admirable. I dare say that the apprentices would be shocked at his ability to manipulate them. I must organize a retreat such that the other enchanters can benefit from his skills. I think that's actually... There's a little bit more. But we're reaching time, and, you can probably tell I need to go, blow my nose or something. Maybe drink some more water. So yeah, we're gonna cut this one here. If you liked what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Maybe tap that notification bell to get notified every time I upload. See you on the flip side. Elisa out.